Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Hunkydory Crafts, we have For the Love of Masks. Here in America, we call them stencils, but they are beautiful masks. They come in 4 pieces for layering, and together I combined both of them to make this card. Beautiful background here, little masking on the mask, and the flowers. I have so much to show you, and this is our giveaway card for this episode. So if you stick around, I'll tell you how one lucky viewer can win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, so as I told you, the sets come with 4 masks for layering. They're 5 by 5. You can also use many of them separately to get different looks, and I'll be telling you about that as well. This is layering floral honeycomb tiles, and if you open this up, these just fit right in here, so it's just a really nice way to keep that. It shows you what each one of the masks looks like. It gives you step-by-step instructions for layering them, and then it also gives you the suggestive ink pad colors when using the prism inks, like this, also from Hunkydory. So for this particular one right here, it used these inks, which is really nice because you don't need to use those inks, but sometimes it's nice to know the intensity of the color. If you want a dark color first and then a light color first, kind of gives you the order of operations there. So let's take a look at the colors that I used here. I pretty much used the same colors, except that I used, let me show you here, grab my colors. I used the concrete for the little first layer, kind of looks like a little honeycomb layer tile. And then the second layer for spearmint, that's the shade. I wanted something just a little bit more intense, so I substituted it out for teal. So you could use either. It's kind of a nice starting spot. And then I used tangerine, and then I also used the letterbox red. All right. So I'm going to go through the steps and show you how to put this together. It's really fun and easy to do. And then for the flower here, for the I went ahead and used those images or those masks, but I just used one flower, so I only took this one right here, and that's the only one I colored on, and then I went ahead and just took my little scissors and cut them out. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's focus right now on the background. Another thing I did that was different was, instead of going ahead and doing it exactly like the cover, I did want to alter it a little bit. So after going ahead and doing this first layer, which is this honeycomb tile, then I went ahead and I took a cutting die from this 12 circle and scallops cutting dies, and I just die cut that from some scrap paper, and then I put it right over the top, and then I continued to do my coloring so that I had a nice little area at the center that was masked off, and then I could just put my flower right there. Kind of made it a little landing spot instead of maybe putting this die cut piece down. So I got to still see the background. All right, so let's go ahead and try these out. So what I like to do is take it and put it on. First of all, I should mention this is lightweight essential card block. We call it Stampin' White cardstock around here, and it comes with this great big pad, and it is great for taking color. It's just the perfect weight. It's also by Hunkydory, so definitely check that out. I'll list that down below. All right, so I like to take it and square it up on 2 sides, all right, because we're going to be removing these and placing another one down, and that way you don't have to try to align things, okay? So I'm going to take that, and then we're going to take a little bit of low tack tape. You could use washi tape as well. And then we're going to just stick that on the edge right here and right there. And then the first color is going to be concrete. And I found that using little daubers, especially for the fine detail areas, was really helpful because we're trying to get color into these little micro dots. And if you're using a larger tool like a blending brush or something, it just takes a little extra scrubbing, where I found this little tool worked great. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do a section of it so that you can see how this works. All right. down here a little bit more. All right, so now we've got our first layer. We're going to take that tape off. And at this point, that's when I went ahead and put my little mask down. Of course, I put it kind of right here, which would be the center. All right, now we're going to take the second layer and we're going to square that up just like we did the first. But we're going to go right over that little circle this time. There we go. I want to make sure my tape doesn't interfere at all here. So now we're going to take the, where did it go? Here, the teal. And as I said, they suggested using spearmint with their sample, but I'm just doing a little darker color. And because these spaces are much more open, I'm going to go ahead and use my little round applicator tool. Okay, and then I'm just going to go like this. And we're going to go right around the edges of that circle to make sure we're really getting that. All right, let's pull this up. Go. So that's that layer done. We're going to keep that tape. Now we're going to go to the little flower layer. We're going to keep that mask there. And then now these flowers we want to have go in the centers. Right there. So they're landing right where we want them to be. And we're all squared up here on our edges. That. All right, now our flowers are tangerine. So I'm going to go back to the small dauber because they are a little more delicate. And we're just going to go around, fill in that tangerine. Go. Okay, that's enough. And then the last one, go, is going to be our little dots, and that's the center of the flower. All right, now you do occasionally pick up the mask going in the wrong direction. So when you lay it down, just make sure that that is going to be in the center of your flower. And we're using letterbox red for that one, using another little dauber. And this one you just need to basically hit those little polka dots. Like that. All right, and then when you take this off, we're still going to have that little honeycomb tile right there, but we didn't do the rest of the mask. So we have a nice little, almost like a little landing spot there to put our rose. And then the rose, I did add a little foam tape on that to give it a little lift. And then for my background paper, this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. So for my back, I used the Windflowers cardstock, and I used these teal colors right here. So I matted it with the darker teal, and then did a larger rectangle with the lighter teal strip of the darker teal here. And these are Script Greeting Dazzle stickers, and I'll link those down below. I forgot to grab those, but I did grab the borders. These are Fancy Border Dazzles in the Pearl and Pastel, and I used this sort of peachy color right there, just along the top and the bottom. So yeah, that is just a really fun one to do. I love the versatility of that as well. So before we get on to the flowers, let me show you another example of using this tile one. Okay, so this one, I just used that out the first 2 layers. Okay, so I used this one and this one, because I really like that honeycomb look of the tiles. So this is a 6x6 card, and I paired that with our 6x6 Be Happy paper, and I just used this one right here, which is just the honeycomb. I cut it down a little bit, and then I inked the edges and used a little bit of gingerbread ink. And the colors I used for this tile piece right here were gingerbread for the little tiny dot one, and then velvet fawn, which I used for this one. And the velvet fawn looks a little lighter. It shows up a little more brown right here. And then I wanted to add some of the little bumblebees right here. We have these great little bumblebee charms, and I added that right there. And of course, also using some Be Happy chipboard. So the chipboard is here and here and here, and I colored those using Spectrum Noir pens. So we've got, this is the bright pink that I used here and here, and then I use citrus yellow on the flowers here with a little bit of pink in the center and around the edges, and then I use citrus green on the stems and then on the little leaves. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit on that one. And then I also added some little crystals. So we've got raspberry and lemon crystals, and I just used a little Cosmic Shimmer glue just to attach those. So it's super sparkly. This little greeting is a cutout from the paper pad right here. And then I also added a little gingham ribbon in that little dark pink color. So just another way to use, sort of break apart the layers and use them in a different way. And then finally, on this one, a little slimline card here. This is 8.5 by 3.5 inches. And on this one, I did kind of the same thing. I did the first 2 layers on this side, and then I did the other 2 layers with the little flower and the little dots on this side. And then I put a little border here, purple border, and the little hugs greeting, and that is from our Purple Dazzle sticker collection. Okay, and they have little greetings and they have the borders on them. There's another border in here as well. All right, so I added those, and then I added a little strip of ribbon right here to bring out more purple, and then some flowers. And this is punch colored florets, and this is thistle. Just did a little collection here and here. So this one was a really fast and easy card to put together. All right, so we've talked about all of that. Let's get on to the roses. So this one, you guys, center step card, which I realized I did a center step card, I think it was yesterday, maybe. Anyway, recently I did a center step card. It's really one of my favorites. This one comes in a pack of 5. We also have a cutting die for those of you who are into the die cutting machines, and I'll link that down below. But these come already pre-folded. They're very, very handy. And then the paper that I used for these, you guys, is Sweet Pea cardstock, all right? And I used the pinks, but this cardstock also has some patterns in it. It has this sort of pink dot that's a diamond shape and the black dot right here and right here. And I used those as well. And then I went back to using my Stampin' White cardstock here that we love. And I actually did my inking on that. It was a little bit easier to ink on the white paper and then cut it down and glue it to this piece rather than trying to do everything on this because of the sort of cuts here and the folding. So that made that really simple. And let's play with that one, you guys. So we're gonna take some cardstock and we've got our layers here. All right, so this one has a handy little notch in it. I think it might have been made at a different time than the tile one because it has these little squares in it, which is really helpful so you know which side is which, and it's a little quicker to put together. So we're gonna do it like this. Let's see. Now I'm trying to remember which way I did this. Do it like this. I did. There we go. All right, so we're going to put it right here. This is our first layer. Make sure we get that in the right corner. And we're going to tack that down. And then we're going to start off with looking at the, here we go. This one also has, when you open it up, it has color suggestions, okay? So lots more colors that we used here, but we've got mask A, which is over here, and it tells you which colors to use here. So the lilac was used for this part, and then this part of the B was the different colors here to layer those down. So let's move on to the one I did. So I used blush for my first layer. And I'm going to use my dauber again, even though it's a larger area and I could go bigger. But I'm going to just do the one flower because doing all three would take too much time. And they're all pretty much done in the same way. All right, so our first layer, blush pink. And we want to kind of go easy on the color there. And okay, and then we're going to do our next mask. Okay, and that's this one. And remember our little squares in the corners, in the opposite corners, those are aligned in the same place, but it also helps to align them with your paper. And then we're going to use, for that, lipstick. This is a very nice bright pink. Okay. Gonna add that one. And because these have some sort of little jagged pieces on it, you want to be really careful. And sometimes they lift up like that. So daubing is kind of a nice way to get that on there without moving this around too much and lifting up your mask loose edges. There we go. We want to daub without leaving like circle marks. Okay, let's see, we're squaring that up again, tacking that down, and then we're going to bring in some green. Where is my green? Here we go. Khaki, and then we're going to use holly green in a minute. So let's grab the khaki, just the lighter green going over these little leaves. Like that. You don't want to go hard on that color. And then we're going to bring in the holly green, which is a darker green. Oops, I almost went over that one. We got to go to another mask, Lene. Okay, and then this one, gonna make sure we get this in the right place. There we go. Okay, and then we're just gonna go over that with a little bit of dark, and I'm not even going to color the whole thing. I'm just kind of adding it like that, because I found that just adding it in little touches gives you a better look. Go. So there's our, oh, I was too fast. I was so excited, you guys, I forgot to do the center of the flower. All right, here is the concrete. We're bringing it back. Be patient. Here we go. There's the center of the flower. That would be step 3. But some of you were going, but what about the flower center? There we go. And then the final one we have to put right here. I got so excited about the leaves. And then we're just going to do this with that concrete as well. And we're going to get those little dots on there. There we go. I did it. All right, so that's how you do the flowers, you guys. And then, of course, there's a whole beautiful collection of them, but don't forget, you could turn your masks the other way and you could put 3 more down here if you wanted a larger collection of them. So very versatile. This one I made into a little Valentine's Day. I used the bee on that, added a little bit of that gingham ribbon. I should mention that these are the little Valentine's Day stamps, and this one's the You Are Loved, which we love these for Valentine's Day. I use these black ones right here. You guys, there's so much that you can do with these, and we have a fantastic money saver on these masks, these very versatile masks. So I would definitely encourage you to check those out. The money saver is right over there. All the items are listed down below the video if you want to pick and choose. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, if you want to find the link to this Paper Wishes webisode channel, just look in the description box and there's a link there. Thanks for joining me today, you guys, and I'll see you next time.